like a cost-efficient way to decorate your house? Well, today I'm going to show you how you can do that with one simple item, and that is with a wooden pallet. And with a wooden pallet, you can make many things. You can make a shelf, you can make a coffee table, you can make decorations for outside. It's very simple, very easy, and the pallet is free. If you go to your local grocery store or lumber yard or anywhere in your town, everyone has pallets that they just throw away or give back to the supplier, but you can get them for free because the supplier usually doesn't want them back, and that is a very simple way to decorate your house. So today I am going to show you how to do that. But first, the reason I am wearing these crappy clothing is because whenever you're making a shelf, you want to wear clothing that you don't care gets dirty because you're going to be staining, and that is going to ruin your clothes. So don't wear your nice jeans and your nice shirt. You need to wear some crappy shorts and a crappy shirt, so if it gets stained, it doesn't matter. So here we go. This is just the beginning of my slideshow. It's just telling you that we're going to do a do-it-yourself wooden pallet shelf. Very simple, very easy. Okay, what you're going to need is you are going to need a pallet, of course, and you are going to need some extra pieces of wood, just in case the wood that's off the pallet isn't all the way. Some of it might be rotten, and you don't want rotten wood because then your shelf or your table won't last as long. So you always want some extra wood with you just in case to make the bottom of the shelves. You will also want some stain. You can use any kind of stain you want. I use Rust-Oleum. It works really good, and it's not that expensive, and it will last for quite a while. You will also want some angled paintbrush, or you'll want some old rags. Old rags make it kind of blotchy to make it look like you tried to make it look rustic, and then a brush kind of brushes it smoothly on there, but it'll still stain rustic looking. The rag just makes it look a little bit more the rustic way that you would want. You are also going to want some hanging hardware, like some screws, or you can go to Walmart and you can get some clear hooks to hang above your shelf that you can just hang wire on and no one will ever notice, so it won't put holes in your wall. For your tools, you'll also want a crowbar, a hammer, a nail gun, and any kind of saw. You can use a hand saw, or you can use an automated saw that you plug in. It's whatever you want to use. Either way works just fine. Alright, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to take your shelf, and you are going to find what pieces of wood you want to use the most. When you're looking at the pallets, you want to make sure you don't get one that's that's rotten, because if you get one that's rotten, it's not going to last as long. So make sure you find one that looks like it's pretty sturdy and will last you a while, and if you cut into it, it won't just break into pieces. And what you're going to do is, you can't really see the picture here, but it's a pallet, and they're taking a crowbar, and they're breaking off the pieces that they don't want to use. And the pieces that you don't want to use, you can either throw off to the side, or you can use them as the bottom part of the shelf. And the reason they're taking the 3 pieces off on these pictures here is because they're making space for the shelves where you can set stuff. So they're breaking apart some of the pallets that they don't want on there. And it's not very hard, they just break right off because they're not nailed in very good. This is just a picture of the big pallet, and there are the 3 pieces that they took off for their spacing. So that will be a shelf, that will be a shelf, and so will that. That's just the pieces that they have removed. Okay, you're going to measure and cut the pieces in between the pallets. So where you ripped the extra pieces off, you're going to measure. And you want to see how long you want the bottom part of your shelf. So you're going to measure to see what other pieces you need to cut to fit underneath it so the stuff will set on it. And this one is a 1 by 3 by 4. So you just take it, you measure it, and then you cut it with your saw. It's really simple, really easy. And then they should be able to just to fit right under the spaces that you took out. Okay. Position the shelf bottom into place. So wherever your bottom shelf is, you want to make sure that you have a piece of wood there that will hold it. And to ensure the shelf bases weren't crooked, you want to take a level and you want to set it on that shelf to make sure that everything's level. Because if you don't do that and you hang it up on the wall, once you put something on it, it's going to either slide down or it's going to look uneven and you're not going to like it after you get it all finished. So you want to make sure that it is all level. It's a little tricky, but if you have to, you can sand some of the pieces down. It's really not that hard, but you just want to make sure it's level before you get it up on the wall and stained. Okay, a finishing nail gun is what we use. Whenever we get the pieces that we want, we just use the nail gun to get the nails in there. You can use a drill or you can hammer the nails in. It does the same thing. A nail gun's just faster. But you want to make sure that your pieces of wood are secure in there. You don't want to get them all up there, hang it up on the wall, and it fall apart, because that would not be good. So don't do that. Make sure that you have everything in there tight so it won't fall apart on you and break everything you have on the shelf. Then what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to sand your shelf. Wooden pallets are they're rough. They have a lot of splinters in there, and if you do not sand it and you go to start staining it, it's not going to work very good. So you want to make sure you sand it. You don't have to sand it all the way flat. You can leave some of that stuff in there for a rustic look. That's what I do. I don't always sand it all the way down. But you want to make sure that all the splinter pieces are off, because once you're sanding and you get a splinter in your finger, you're not going to be very happy. And so that is what you want to do. And then what you're going to do is you're going to want to stain your shelf. And you'll just get whatever stain you want. Like I said, I used Rust-Oleum. It works really good. Or you can even get the cheap brand at Walmart. It's like $12, I think. It's not that expensive, and it works just the same. Then you're going to take your rag or your brush. Either way is fine. If you use a rag, you need gloves, because you're dipping it in that stain and it will stain your fingers and it will not come off if you wash it, and sometimes it does burn. So make sure you are wearing latex gloves. That is another thing you need if you're using rags. You'll just dip it right in that stain, and then you'll kind of you can dab it, or you can, like you would a brush, just rub it on there. Or you can use like a rustic brush. It has the hard bristles, kind of like an old broom. And that, when you brush it on there, doesn't do a normal like paintbrush. It gives it that rustic, where it doesn't soak and it's not smooth. It's all blotchy and it looks really, really good. So either way works just fine. It's up to you, whatever way you want to use. And the last and final step is to hang it up on your wall. So you might need a man for this, because I did. I was not strong enough to do it by myself. But if you have someone to help you, which would be nice, to hold it up above wherever you want to put it. I have put mine above my couch. And what I did is I had someone hold it to make sure I liked it and to make sure it was even, because you do not want to get it up on the wall and screw it in and get back down and it be crooked, because then you're going to be irritated and you'll have to put more holes in your wall. So always make sure you have someone to help you hang your shelf. You want to make sure that you put a screw on each side. I put them in the back pieces where you cannot see it, because I have stuff on my shelf where no one's going to see the screws anyways. You want to make sure that you get them in all the way. I use 2 screws, one on one side, one on the other. You can use more if you want to, but I would use 2 at most, because if you only use 1, it's not going to hold it very well. And then what I did is I put a rustic star. It's like a strip of rustic stars over the top. I have a rustic star here. I have a picture and 2 decorations, and it looks really good on your wall. This whole entire shelf costed me about $12, and that is it. Other than the pictures, this is decorations that I've had for quite a while, so they didn't cost me anything. But this whole thing costed $12. It is not that expensive. The pallet is free. It is a cheap decoration for your house, because when you normally go to a store to get decorations, it will cost you about $30 for a rustic star, or $30 for an old rustic ladder. This stuff you can do at home by yourself. And like I said earlier, you can make a coffee table. You can make seating for your outside. It is very cheap and inexpensive, and you can use it for so many things. The works cited that I used Google.com to look up some of the palette pictures and some of the ideas to help me tell you what utensils you would need, because whenever I use my shelf, I don't use all of that, but a lot of people do. I use Google Images, and I also use DIYShowOff.com, which helps you step by step to make a palette shelf. So if you would like to make one, you could go to DIYShowOff.com, and it will tell you step by step what to do and how to do it. If you have any questions or if you would like help making a pallet shelf, just comment on this video and I will help you. Thanks for watching.